3, 2, 1, go.
What the
Chill.
podcast? It's a great day. It's Tuesday. What is this?
Tuesday.
Our second Tuesday podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And I'm loving it, man. I'm loving the new time, new day. Open up to Friday. Give time for people to digest during the week.
Yeah, man. I gotta admit, Ed, I am maybe more excited than you are. This is episode 14 of our podcast. 14 happens to be my lucky number, man. It's actually the number that I picked. And it's an organization that I've wanted to chat with for a very, very, very long time because of their work. I got to admit, I didn't necessarily know it was one superstar primarily running the show. But I'm excited to have her. And that would be Casey Leone with the Terrapin Conservation Initiative. Lord, I can't speak today. It's been a long day. They got this poor teacher back at school after 5 months off, man.
Come on now.
Terrapin Conservation Initiative. There we go. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I think it'll be a great one. Whenever we talk terrapins, I know we're both all in and ready to learn and talk and see what we can do to help our favorite species of turtle, man.
Yeah, especially because it's a lot of people that love them and they're in a hobby, but finding people that are actually really in depth, in the muck, so to speak, doing a lot of dirty work, to make sure these guys are around for the long haul. And
right,
they are definitely, the cool thing is they're definitely not shy. Everything that she's a part of, they're not shy about sharing it either. So that's really cool also, and hard to come by because a lot of times, when we talk terrapins, it's low key, which as it should be, but they definitely share all the highlights and gets us all ramped up that love terrapins. So
yeah, one day we're gonna have to, if we get Jordan back on, or even if we get somebody else who's knowledgeable enough to answer this question, which species is more heavily poached, terrapins or box turtles in the U.S.? And I say that because I've seen a couple posts that TSA has posted of recent, turtle poaching busts, and it's almost always box turtles or terrapins in some regard. And I mean, obviously, currently we're both in Florida, so we have the best of both worlds, and many of the states, going up north on the Atlantic coast as well. But I mean,
I feel like box turtles are almost like they're just out in the open. They're easy pickings, almost like people obviously nonchalantly just even pick them up,
right.
Maybe not even willingly, for the intent of any of that, but it'd be an interesting topic to talk about.
No, I mean, they're two of my favorite species, and we'll definitely have to have that on one day. But yeah, man, let's not keep her in this waiting room where she's just sitting in the dark by herself. Let's go ahead and bring her to the light. So
bring her to the light.
There we go. Casey, welcome.
Hello.
Sorry, we got on a 3-minute ramble. I apologize.
No, that's fine. It's a good topic to talk about.
Yeah.
Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. Can you go ahead and tell the viewers a little bit about yourself and the things you're involved with for us?
Sure. My name is Casey Leone. I run the Terrapin Conservation Initiative, which is a project based out of New Jersey. I'm also on the board for the TurtleRoom, and I support another terrapin project north of me, an LBI. And then I also am second in command at Garden State Tortoise, which is lots and lots of work, but lots and lots of fun. And I'm a mom and a wife.
And the last two are probably the most important.
Yes, always, always.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing is that that you got your hand and take even with my wife, it's like it's different, come from a hobby when you're involved with all that stuff, it's like we've talked to Stephen Chu and a bunch of other people about balance and family and making sure that those things are the roles and where they need to be, which would probably be a cool, interesting thing to get your perspective also as a wife. you know, because I don't think we ever even had that perspective yet on the podcast to ask about that, because we talked a little bit about Anthony with it also on the flip side. So
I mean,
go ahead. Your floor is yours.
hey, I don't really sit down a lot. That's definitely a thing. No, you know what? You just have to know when to stop for the day and say, okay, that's enough work, because me and Chris could work, you know, sun up to sundown every single day and still not get everything done. And, you know, we include them in everything. You know, we've gotten very used to like, okay, grab a diaper bag and some bottles and let's go. Like, let's just see how this goes, you know, and we're lucky enough to have our 3-year-old be extremely, I guess she's obsessed with turtles at this point, to the point where Chris actually rolls his eyes at me and says, "Oh my God, she's picking up my turtles, and you know she wants to feed them all the time, and she's trying to check the incubators with him." And so, you know, we try to just include family in everything, and that's, you know, the best we can do. And we're, like I said, we're lucky enough they enjoy it. So,
I gotta ask this question: did turtles bring you guys together?
no.
Okay.
Chris is, he was in a band.
Oh, man.
So he was a lead singer, and my best friend's sister was his band manager, and that's actually how we met. But then very shortly after we met, it was just, you know, this is it for us.
I think it's 2-ish weeks we have Chris on.
Yeah.
I need you to give him this warning, and hopefully he's listening. We're gonna have to get a solo from him. We gotta hear the band days.
Give him some whiskey and a guitar, and he'll play something.
Oh man, I hope the music videos are as good as Joe Exotic's.
No, he used to play Warped Tour. He played with Yellow Card and all the big pop punk bands back in the day. He was
out there.
Yeah, he was a big deal.
Got you. Were you? Go ahead, Ed.
I was saying, now he's even a bigger deal.
In the turtle world, yeah.
Come on.
No, 100%. I gotta ask, were you into turtles prior to that?
Always an animal lover.
Okay.
Never specifically turtles.
Okay.
But him and I actually started Garden State Tortoise together.
Okay.
And that kind of just spiraled from there. And then I was a floral designer and into horticulture, and then migrated over into the animal network, and I worked at 2 different zoos. And then once we decided to have a family, I stayed home, and that's when I kind of like dove into strictly reptiles, turtles and tortoises.
So how'd you get into the zoo? Was it strictly straight into animals at the zoo, or was it the horticultural aspect first? And
no, because of my experience with Garden State Tortoise, I had, you know, a lot of exotic experience, and I kind of dove right into animal training. I worked with raptors, bear cubs, giraffes, all kinds of parrots and macaws, pretty much everything. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was really fun.
And you said it was 2 different zoos.
I worked at Six Flags Safari.
Okay.
And then I also worked up in Turtleback.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Before we started the podcast, we chatted a little bit. How was that move, considering your educational background?
What do you mean, diving into the animal world?
Yeah, into zoos and things. Like, how did that come to fruition? Was it that experience with Garden State Tortoise trumped it, or was it just a holistic picture? Or
yeah, Garden State. That my experience here is so nichey, and we live it, we breathe it. So it's kind of like, I think it's very unique that I had that experience, and that was why I was able to dive in. Plus, my whole life I've been around animals, and I've lived, you know, in the middle of the woods for forever. So I'm horrible with technology, but I love like shovel, and I love hay, and I love, you know, cleaning up after animals. I know it sounds weird, but
no,
that's more my thing. I like to work with my hands.
You love the humble beginnings. You'll never have to worry about getting knocked off your high horse. That's for sure. I had a question with the whole Garden State Tortoise. Like, just like how we were talking about with Anthony, you know, with the turtle room, like it's such the multitude of just, you know, what it is and signifies. Like, how did something like that just, is it just a vision that you guys just finally wanted to actually put, you know, something to life on it, or like did it even
With
transform into, did you ever expect it would be what it is now?
Oh my God, no. No, you know what? I definitely have to say what it is now was not what we anticipated it to be. I mean, you can only hope to be semi-successful when starting your own business. And I think just through the years, the two of us together, we never stop and we're always saying yes. Like right now, we work with Federal Fish and Wildlife, New Jersey Fish and Wildlife, all the zoos in the state. We work with everybody to rescue turtles, to place turtles. We talk about habitats. I mean, it just kind of spiraled into this like big network, and we never say no. So it just kind of got us
There's no
here.
one else, and there's no one else actually doing anything like that, at least, you know, that want to expand that much. I mean, when you have a filter like that and you're pretty much almost the main people, like, is there really no one else doing it up there? Or
No, there's definitely a network of people up here. I don't know if anybody's as specific as Chris and I are with specifically turtles and tortoises. But there's definitely a network. We do this full time. So I think we tend to be more of like a go-to for stuff like that.
Gotcha. Now with the Garden State Tortoise, you said it is a business, right? So how does it function? Like, what allows you guys to be able to actually do everything you guys do full time? Because I know we talked to a couple of different people in the past, you know, especially Anthony. It's like he's like, you know, it's hard to do what you love, you know, and actually, you know, do it full time. So it'd just be interesting to know.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue that work is work. You know, there's definitely aspects of our daily lives that we're like, oh my God, we can't, you know, got to do this today or got to do that. But we still appreciate everything that we get to do. I mean, we have anything hatching is still, look how beautiful this is. Or, I mean, the amount of work he puts into decorating and making the habitats so realistic, and, you know, just seeing the animals do what they're supposed to do and learning from them in captivity, all of that is just, it just trumps got to answer emails and we have to, you know, pay our huge electric bill.
Do you guys actually have a piece of property, obviously, or do you live on the site?
We have,
okay.
Yeah, we have 2 acres and we have a pole barn, and we've kind of just transformed everything to be Garden State Tortoise.
Do you actually allow visitors and stuff, or is it just
people we know? You know, we don't take like, you know, random people just because it's
Ed, you can't go visit, okay?
Oh, no,
I was asking for some people.
It
was like,
And no, I'm curious about something, Casey. We've talked a lot about Garden State Tortoise, but I'm curious how the Terrapin Conservation Initiative started, and kind of like, was it a branch off from what you were already doing, and now you wanted to get specific with something, or like how did that come to fruition?
So there's another project I'd mentioned earlier on LBI. They're called the Terrapin Nesting Project.
Mm-hmm.
They are run by this wonderful woman. Her name's Kathy Lacey. She is unbelievable. So she's been running her project on LBI for about 7 years, maybe 8 years now. And what happened was,
I do have them. I was making sure I have them booked for September 29th.
Oh, you do? You have Kathy?
I believe so, yes.
Oh, that's great. Oh, she's so fun.
Is she the one that answers their Instagram?
I don't know who does their Instagram.
Okay. But yes, I have them booked.
She's the leader, so I'm assuming maybe she'll be on it.
I think they said it's 4 women, 3 or 4 women.
Oh, okay.
And they asked if they could all come on, and I said, sure, we'll take them all.
That'd be
awesome. They're a really great group of people.
We could just like sit back and just
there you go. So Kathy came to us because when terrapins became protected, she needed a different permit from the state and she needed help filing for it. So she came to us, and since Chris has been, filling out all different kinds of permits for years, he kind of guided her on how to do it. But so basically the permit was under his name and she ran the permit under him. And after being with her for about a year and seeing how they worked on the island, I mean, again, I don't want to disclose any areas that we work in, but
island.
No, their island. Well,
yeah.
So for me and Chris, we had an issue. Like, we knew they needed help in these specific areas. So we ended up filing for our own permit and kind of branched off and just ran with it. Figured out what we needed to do and just kind of dove head first.
How long have you guys been separate entities?
This year was the first year, but we never actually worked together. Like, she never, honestly, you couldn't, because we're both busy. So we never got to work together on the same areas. So it's kind of been like, these locations have been mine since day one.
And what exactly is it you're doing? Like, what is your role as the Terrapin Conservation Initiative?
Well, it's a lot of patrolling, a lot of studying the area to see where and when they are coming up. And what we do is we look for nesting females. When they come up to nest in these areas, there's about less than a foot on either side of the road with no shoulder for the girls to nest. So there's terrapins trying to dig into the pavement. They're just, road mortality is unbearable to watch in these locations. So what we'll do is we'll grab any females we see that aren't digging, and we process them. So we microchip them, we take measurements, photos, and we palpate them. And then we, move them to a safe area to try to get them to lay their eggs. If they're already laying their eggs, we wait for the nests, we excavate them, and we artificially incubate their eggs. And we do deal with some rescue situations. It's a little tough sometimes because there's a lot of instances where you can't really do anything for them. But that's something we're kind of figuring out. I'm going to go for my rehab license, hopefully within the next couple of years, and get that started. So it's a lot of running around and a lot of flies.
Yeah, because when we were talking to Jordan, and he was up there, Georgia, and he was having, I don't know, how many did he say? He said over 100.
He said that by the end of the year, he suspected close to 300, if I believe, that they would have.
300 what? Females?
Road mortalities.
Oh, road mortality,
Yeah.
So where I am, it's a shorter road, but the population is very healthy so far where I am. Chris and I were able to process between 3 different locations. We were able to process about 600 females this year.
That's awesome.
And microchip about 400 new females. So that was really a big number for us.
New breeding, or new that you just haven't found yet?
No, these are new. Like, so we added 2 locations to our permit. On the location we've been working on, we've had maybe I want to say probably 40 to 50% repeat females, and the other 50% were new. And then everything else in the locations were all new.
Nice. What kind of span does each territory cover usually? Like each permit, does it go by county or?
No, you actually, when you fill out the permit with Fish and Wildlife, you actually plot on the map exactly where you're going to be working out of. Yeah.
That way it's not so. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And now you have a offsite, obviously, for the incubating, like you have to actually physically be seeing her nest, and then wait, let her go back, do her thing, and then and just in those instances where you'll actually, help encourage the incubation process.
Yeah, so we have a huge problem with crows in all of the nesting sites. Specifically, one nesting site is horrible with the crows. I can sit in my truck and look for crows on the line, and that's how I find nests. Like they know where to go. So I don't necessarily need to wait for to see the terrapin dig, because sometimes they'll just lead me right to it.
Huh.
But yeah.
Not to say you can't use no BB gun or anything. It's kind of
Slingshot.
low key.
Yeah.
Huh. Wow. So how long have you been doing actually that now? That's been 7 years, you said?
I've been working with the Terrapins for 3 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, wow.
I have a question for you, and I hope this is not, overstepping, but I'm curious, what is like the average clutch size that you see on, animals that you're finding? And I'm only asking because I've heard that sometimes captive bred animals produce different numbers, and so I'm curious about that in egg size as well.
Yeah. What creates a healthy population? Because obviously you said it is healthy, just about.
Yeah, I mean, for now it is, but the predation is gonna just be there, We usually see anywhere from 4 eggs to 16 or 17, I think was the biggest clutch. The egg size actually doesn't correlate to the size of the female. So like young females, I've seen them like huge eggs before. I'm like, how did that happen?
Right.
But the egg size does vary quite a bit between females.
Okay.
And yeah, I would say I think 16 or 17 was the largest clutch.
Oh, and was that a big female though? Did you see the female?
Yeah, come out of pretty big females. Yeah, the biggest female we've ever come across, she was 8.5 inches, or she was over 8.5 inches.
Wow.
So.
My question: did the larger eggs equate to smaller clutch sizes? And I won't hold it against you. I'm just curious if you remember.
No, I think I would say maybe.
Okay.
But I've even had females lay, like some of the eggs are large and some of them are small in one clutch.
Okay.
So it's tough to really give a definitive answer on that.
Now, have you, because sometimes I don't know if you can tell as far as if it's a first time mama, laying, but we all, like, you've talked to Jordan about it and stuff like that because he was more in depth about the whole reproduction cycle. Have you seen like any kind of, I don't say, percentage wise, because we know, with first time layers, they're usually infertile. Have you ever seen like any kind of percentage wise that you've seen that first time mothers actually be fertile and be successful, or does it take a couple times?
Well, it's interesting because, and me and Chris talk about this a lot, every egg we put in the incubator is fertile.
Wow.
Down here. So I couldn't give a definitive answer on that either, really.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know we get first time moms and I know we get young females, but I've never had a clutch actually go bad, or be infertile. So,
and that has to go with some kind of natural cycle too. Like, because sometimes I say they can be forced into, reproducing,
right.
in more of a captive setting, but from a natural setting, if it's a natural instance, then obviously, I want to say they're more prone to more fertility, higher rate, but I mean, they know best, right? More than we do. So we can try to manipulate all we want, but in the end, it's their duty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
We have a couple of questions. Do you mind answering them?
Sure.
We have Leslie's question. She said, what do you mean by rescue situations, Casey? I think she's speaking on when you said you can't always help them or you get a lot of rescue situations.
Yeah. So where I work, it can get pretty busy with traffic, and when there's certain injuries, they're fatal. You can't do anything for them. Not to be graphic, but they look like they're still okay on one half of their body, and then the other half, okay, this one's not going to make it. So
Right.
there's been times where I try to, scoop them up out of the road and get them into the bed and try to do something for them and with like a veterinarian, but a lot of the times they don't even make it that far. So, and then there's other situations where, you just kind of have to do more of an observation on the female, because a lot of times females are good to be released, and the general public doesn't understand that. They see an injured turtle and they think, oh, this terrapin needs help. And it's like, well, actually, I've had several females with no front legs digging perfect nests with perfect weight, and they're hydrated and they swim off just fine. So, yeah.
That's awesome. All right, you have a question from Greg. I'll let you read that one.
Why is she sitting in that room like a I don't know.
And then there's a comment.
Chris is on dad duty. He is. Absolutely.
There's your weird comment for the day. All right.
Oh,
this is
a question.
Real quick, I was going to ask about before we get on a different tangent. When you go for the rescue, not rescue, but the rehab, and just kind of look at injured, is one of the first things you do other than analyze the injuries? Do you palpate to make sure that if there is any eggs that can be saved? Do you also do that like Jordan does?
You mean in the fatal females? Yeah, we do check. Yeah, because we also report to Fish and Wildlife whether or not the female was gravid or empty. So we always check for eggs or developing eggs.
Gotcha.
If we can.
This was a question I was actually going to ask, but I'll let him get credit. Travis asked, do you plan to head start hatchlings, as in raise them for a year before release? As I imagine crows can pick off hatchlings when you release them.
We've talked about it, but we don't think it's necessary. At least in the two locations here. I'm still doing research on my third location. They're part of the ecosystem. They're part of the food chain, and we know it's a healthy population down here. We know where they're breeding. I can see the males and the females together in the refuge. So we do try to release, a couple days after hatching when the yolk sac is shriveled up and gone. And, we picked the safest areas that we can, just to give them the best chance. But no, we don't head start.
Okay, that was a good thing. That was a good question.
Especially when you got the population. You said it's they're doing something right. Especially, obviously with a little bit of encouragement and help from you guys. But ultimately, if you want a good sustainable population, toughen them up a little bit, I guess.
To put it this way, in one of my sites, I can park my truck, and without going anywhere, I can have a bucket of like 60 females to process in like 20 minutes. So it can get very busy. And then other days there's nothing. There's 5. But you do get those days of like heavy traffic where,
Now, what's the brunt of the season for you guys? Because I know Jordan said there's a certain time frame. Do you have a shorter, larger, or a smaller time frame as far as the season goes? And does it differentiate, vary, within weeks or months, also from normal?
Well, this year was awful. This year they started 2 weeks late. So usually it's last week of May all the way till third week of July, I would say. And then there's maybe 3 good peaks where you have like crazy, couple of days, and then it'll slow down again. So yeah, I would say it's a couple weeks.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I think that's the same thing Jordan was, a week or 2, didn't he? Because he said Memorial Day weekend was insane.
Yeah. I was curious about something. What's the and you don't have to be an expert on it, what are like the phenotypes or, looks that you're seeing in the females that are laying? And in terms, I'm sure you're not, well, I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm sure. In terms of how the hatchlings look in comparison to the females.
So I don't mark like which female laid which clutch because we get so many.
Yeah.
I will say there's a huge variety in every single clutch. And a huge variety in coloration. If you guys follow my Instagram, you can see I'm always posting like how different every single female is, all shapes and sizes. It's crazy. Right. It's mind blowing.
No, that's awesome. The reason I say it is because we find a lot of people speculate about terrapins only being dumped, in the Texas, Louisiana region, and you get your super Texans and things. But I'm more inclined to believe they kind of probably were dumped everywhere. And so
I would love to just start doing like blood work on all the terrapins that come up and just starting a study that way to see what's what with the coloration. Because it really is like very different up here.
What's the difference between, have you noticed more of and this is going just because of, following you guys and, seeing a lot of the ones up there, from blue to, white, like, do you see what's the most normal looking, and I guess that's because it maybe makes it more natural. What's the most normal looking, female or terrapin that you see, other than, you say, okay, you see this and you're like, okay, it makes you incline, okay, that's different, other than, that's a good solid, native, like what it should look like, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say we see a lot of like the dark gray skin and the greenish tan shell.
Okay.
Spotted or speckled.
Yeah. But we get the ones that are jet black. We get ones that have real mahogany looking shells with that dark blue skin. We get, like the ones that are almost all black. It's really crazy.
Oh. I was curious, you spoke about seeing males. How often do you encounter males like in person? Because you said you could see them off in the water, with the females, but how often do you have an encounter in person with them?
Twice.
Twice?
Wow.
Yeah, once was in a crab trap,
okay, and
once was an injured one that I believe a bird got to on land. It was actually a rescue situation, but no, the males never come up. Yeah, they're always in the water. So it's really just observation with binoculars or my telephoto lens.
So they definitely, you definitely got to have a healthy enough population anyway to sustain that many females.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we live, right near a wildlife refuge. And I believe that that's where they're breeding before they move. Mm-hmm. And, if you go early May, late April, you'll start to see them all come up and you find a lot of males. So
now question, the ones that you actually head start, quote unquote, or incubate, do you do like a mixed ratio?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. I was wondering about that because if you think that if the population's swayed in any way, if you guys would actually, go that route also, if you just kind of let nature do its course and,
Yeah, we try to keep everything as natural as we can. We're actually working on building a nesting habitat in one of our new locations. So with that, we're hoping to have them actually incubate, a little more natural and outside. So
now what would that look like as far as, making their own little spot? What would they include and incorporate to make it as homey as you could in the wild for them?
So we're talking about doing a sandy substrate, lots of predation protection, lots of educational signs, and it's going to go in an area where they're able to naturally come up out of the water. And unfortunately, it's a very public area. But the community is great and everybody wants to help. So I'm trying to give the terrapins and the community a place to say, okay, this is where we go, No. So it's kind of something that we're, going to be working on this winter. I don't have any plans drawn up yet, but we're pretty excited about it. I'm excited to get started with it.
And you have to get certain permits and all that kind of stuff to do that kind of thing, or is that already built into what you guys already do?
So we are working with the mayor of the town, so he's going to help me out getting all the paperwork and getting the, the backing from the community for it. So
that's awesome.
It sounds kind of similar to what Jack Berlin was doing down in Tampa with his. Are you familiar with that by chance?
I'm not sure.
Ed, you're familiar with it, right?
A little bit, yeah.
He was trying to. There's a park down in Tampa where he was trying to get basically kind of like a refuge to show people and get people more aware of, terrapins and nesting. And it was, built right where their in, natural environment is, but, enclosed. So they're still protected in a sense.
Yeah.
So it sounds a lot like that. And that's awesome. Do you guys get a lot of volunteer support, or is it just you and Chris in the trenches?
This year, I mean, we had a couple volunteers this year. But it was a little tougher because of everything going on in the world. A lot of people were uncomfortable with helping out. And, we work in a marsh with every kind of fly and mosquito you can imagine. So wearing a mask is not ideal on top of bug spray and the heat and everything. So this year was a little tough. And we do get a lot of people, like a lot of locals that want to help.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue is actually poaching. We have to be extremely careful who we allow on our permit. So everybody goes through a process, an interview, and we figure things out that way before even applying for the permit to get everybody on there. So I'm hoping to build like a nice core group of volunteers, but I'm taking it pretty slow.
No, I get it. I definitely get it. One of the viewers has a question.
Sure.
She wants to know how you guys work to educate the community. Is there platforms, materials, or how do you guys go about doing those things?
We definitely use social media, but we also do a lot of talks with. Again, this year got messed up because of COVID, but we were supposed to do a talk at the Wildlife Refuge. We work with the Marine Mammal Stranding Center. We do talks over there, and we kind of do more of like an outreach program.
Okay.
Especially now that, Garden State Tortoise, theTurtleRoom, and Terrapin Conservation Initiative are kind of all partners. We like to bring all of the native species with us and educate them on, okay, this is a box turtle, this is a red belly, this is, and try to educate the public on that aspect too, because there's a lot of instances where people say, oh, it's a turtle, let's bring it back to the ocean. And then, I'm sure you guys know them.
Oh, yeah.
Box turtles are drowning in the saltwater. So
well, we had actually had an instance down here, actually before I wrote my children's book, when we were having all these sea turtles wash up from the hurricane. And they had literally the news crew there and stuff. And I just so happened to talk to the guy with the news crew and asked him, what kind of like what the ratio was of what they're finding. And he actually proceeded to tell me that most of the people that find them, because they don't know better, they're put them into the river. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like right across the street. Like you're talking about a street difference, a river and ocean. And, and that comes down to like everything that we've talked about in the past with most people we've talked about, Cody, and knowledge, education. And it goes so much further than anything else. You don't have to love the animal per se, just get to know them, appreciate them for what they're worth. And, that'll speak for itself. If not, then they'll tell the next person nonchalant,
Especially too, like I find, locals are so important. Locals are so important. Like as long as I can count on the community to at least know what lives near them, that's so huge, especially with slowing down and caring about, the animals. So
I'm going to be this guy. What is your favorite species of turtle or tortoise?
Or both.
Or both. You can say one of each.
Okay. Well, the Diamondbacks obviously hold a special place in my heart. So I would say they're probably my favorite turtle, but Diamondbacks aside, I love Blanding's turtles.
Okay.
And Aldabras.
Aldabras, okay.
Aldabras are definitely.
How big is the largest Aldabra that you guys have?
That we have? He's mine. He was my wedding gift from Chris. And
that's a solid gift.
I know, right? He's about 6 years old. We got to weigh him this year because he definitely put on a lot of size, but he's got to be, I don't know, maybe 70 pounds now.
6 years.
Yeah, he's a big boy. I think he's a boy. But I used to work with a male and female Aldabra. The male was I think he was about 550 pounds, and the female was about 350 pounds. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I know up at the zoo, up north, where my wife is from, Toledo, they have, a Galapagos, and it was every bit of 150 or some years old, and pushing 600 or some pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to put these monster posts in the ground just to keep them in an area.
Yeah, they're strong and heavy, that's for sure.
Do you have what do you actually use for your kind of like with those magnitude and size of turtle? What do you use actually as enclosures?
We have a little barn for him for the summer, and then he has a pretty big enclosure that we're just using just regular wooden planks that he can't see out of. But we're talking about probably getting him his own shed pretty soon because he's blowing up in size. So.
And that's the only one you have?
Yeah. I mean, I would collect them if I could. I would have a herd of them. I actually also really want baby goats, but he hasn't got me baby goats yet. But
you get your hook, line, and sinker on that, though.
Yeah.
we can only hope that Kevin's Aldabras and your Aldabras can one day come together and make baby Aldabras for your children.
For my children's children.
Right.
What's actually the most normal age for sexual maturity for them, actually?
It takes a long time. We don't even know what he is. I don't think we're gonna know what he is until he's like, maybe another 10 years. I say he, but he could be a female. But I'm hoping for a male.
So you're talking about almost like from a normal person standpoint, age-wise, like, they got to be up there in age for that. It don't matter about size. Like a lot of the turtles, like you see, like with the terrapins, like what was even like the smallest or mother, terrapin that you noticed?
There's been a couple of females that come up that are maybe just shy, maybe just over 5 inches that are, they're pretty small. That I was, I'm shocked to see them because a lot of most of the females are anywhere between 6.5, to 7 inches. So yeah, pretty small.
And what do you do? You said you do microchip. Do you notch? Or is it just a microchip that you do, or?
Yeah, we just microchip them. Yeah. We would, we will notch if we would run out of microchips, but the TurtleRoom was able to fund us this year, and they gave us so many microchips to work with this year. So
that's awesome. Where do you get those microchips from? You just common microchips that they use standard wise?
Yeah, we order them from Biomark. So yeah, they put it's right now the TurtleRoom has this project, and they have a wood turtle project, but again with COVID that kind of got all screwed up, so I was the only one out there in the field this year.
You actually do that on site also, the microchipping?
Yep.
So how does that, for people that don't know, or even do know about them, but as far as like the process in doing it, like is it as simple as, is it one of the injection ones, or like what is it?
Yeah, so we actually have it's like a little gun that you use and a sheet that's full of preloaded syringes, and you kind of just punch the gun down on the syringe. And I've at this point in my life microchipped I don't know, almost 1,000 females, so I'm very used to pulling legs out and just I can do it really fast.
Where's the most common spot? In the back hind leg, or?
Yeah, back hind leg, and we do it it's only in the skin. So with a dehydrated female it might take a little while because their skin's a little like papery, but other than that, it's real quick process. And then after we microchip them, we scan their number, make sure it all checks out, and tie it into their data, and then send them off on their way.
So it's pretty actually relatively, I don't want to say cheap, but like it's a pretty, is it expensive,
It's
funding?
expensive.
Is it?
Yeah, it's the most expensive thing I need.
Yeah. What does it come in? Like, does it come in like certain? You said sheets, but like, what's like a standard cost of, per one or per order? Like, just
So
to give people enough idea if they want to, donate in, in any way, shape, or form, or give back. Just
they're about $2 a pop.
okay.
So the Turtle Room was able to actually get us about 700 chips this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And a new scanner. Yeah, their Turtle Room has gone above and beyond. They're just unreal. I joke around and call them Santa Claus because they send stuff to my house. I'm like, oh, presents.
I'm going to ask you a question about the Turtle Room in a second, but this question goes along with your microchips. Okay. So she says, is the microchip database shared with other DBC conservative initiatives?
So it actually, everything goes to New Jersey Fish and Wildlife. They get all of our data, and we're working on connecting the projects throughout the state. There's a lot of great people working really, really hard all summer for these animals, and we're all kind of separated. We all kind of have different goals and different ways of going about things. So we're trying to have yearly meetings and kind of incorporate, more of the network and get on the same page with that stuff. The terrapins they're very religious about where they lay their eggs. They come back to the same spot religiously. So we don't necessarily have to worry about one of our microchip terrapins ending up in someone else's project because they don't travel like that. But we are trying to kind of sync up a little bit.
Now, if you said, how you said, like if you see one struggling or, going on the pavement, just, having those little, inclinations, do you stay in the same vicinity as far as, that area, like the radius of what the permit is, and you stay in that spot and you just kind of find another easier spot for it to lay? Is that kind of like how you gauge that?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the day and depends on how many females I have around me. I have these moments where I have to pick the lesser evil. Okay, is that female crossing the road? Okay, I don't see any trucks, but this female, this nest is getting eaten by crows right now, so I'm going to pick the nest that's imperative to get. And on a busy day, everything is so fast. It is so fast. I mean, I was 7.5, almost 8 months pregnant last year working in the street. And I was, having contractions and like nosebleeds because I'm trying to work so hard to get these terrapins into safety. But I was like, so then Chris ended up finishing last season. But yeah, it's a lot of running around. It's crazy.
I remember when you sent me your bio, you spoke about being involved with the Turtle Room. What's your role in regards to the Turtle Room?
So I'm on the board. I'm the secretary, and then I also am the protocol manager. So I'm kind of helping. The Turtle Room is doing a lot, and I'm the person that says, oh, wait a minute, we need paperwork for that. Oh, wait a minute, we need, and I kind of help navigate that aspect. We also are building a database for research purposes, for hobbyist purposes. So I'm helping with that a little bit too. And I'm kind of just there for anything that pops up, anything that they want to throw at me. So.
And that's aside from all the other things you run.
A little busy. But I actually, Chris just joined the venomous snake response team for the state. And I was pregnant when he joined, so I couldn't get trained, but he's going to be recommending me hopefully for training. And that's my next endeavor that I want to do.
What venomous species of snakes do you guys have up there?
The diamondback rattler.
Okay.
But then we also do pine snakes are protected and corn snakes. So any snake Chris and I see, we're like, let's report the snake. Let's see, let's let them know we saw one. So it's a venomous snake response team, but it's also a response team for the person that, left their door open and a snake got into their kitchen cabinet and they're going to shoot it if we don't remove it. Like that kind of a situation. So
now, do you have to have a certain kind of, hourly, under your belt in order to actually be, considered able to do that? Because I know down here, you have to have X amount of hours, and it'll even be considered, to even not say own them or have them. It might be a different instance with you guys just being a response team.
You have to go through like a certification process, and I believe you have to be recommended to do it. It can't, you can't just be anybody, but there's not a lot of people out there that want to do it. So I don't think that that's much of
that's just New Jersey?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you know if other states have that kind of thing with the response team? Or
I'm not sure.
That'd be interesting, if I'm from Ohio, so like if, I've dealt with, I've done venomous handling, and I've done, a lot of the copperheads are a big thing, and, the timbers, and a lot of people, there's a lot of responses. I've had to go down there with, grab a coat hanger and twist it up real quick and grab a copperhead out of the parking lot with all these people screaming and walk up a mountainside and put it back, but those are just things that you don't, people can get, and those are where snakes, I think, sometimes get a bad rap, is because there's not enough people that you don't know. You just sometimes
it's funny, Chris has been working with reptiles since he was, 5, and snakes, turtles, tortoises, you name it, he's worked with it, and he's never used snake hooks before. So with the venomous snake response team, they require you to use 2 snake hooks. I'm like, I can do that. I was at a zoo. I got it. Let me do it. So I hope I can, join.
So what did you work at with the zoo? What are you kind of, I won't say most familiar with, but what did you work with the most that you enjoyed, that as far as either the best that you liked or even worked with?
I loved working with the raptors. I loved working with barn owls and screech owls. The birds are awesome. I love working with birds. No, not a bird person.
No, I have no problem with birds. I love birds.
Oh, okay.
I love hawks, and actually I did some of the handling, up with the venomous. Did raptors also. I did a barred owl, I did a red-tailed hawk. The barred owl was a little bit creepy. I think I shared the story, Cody, with the whole doing it in the classroom, and it's like, the kids are that way. Stop looking at me with those big black eyes.
I love it.
Like you're gonna do something, pooping, and I'm like, come on, man, just. The hawks, no brainer. But then you get into the vultures, and oh gosh.
Yeah, but you know what? The parrots and the macaws and the cockatoos. I had a cockatoo that was out to get me. Like, he just decided one day, he's like, no, I don't like you. And if his door was open, he would legit like dive bomb me and like attack me. Yeah.
I actually don't do birds for that reason. I live with my grandmother, and I don't have. Let me say this: I'm afraid of snakes. 100% guilty.
Oh.
I don't do birds because I did get dive bombed when I was 7.
Okay, you were little.
My grandmother had a tangerine tree, and she asked me to go pick some tangerines, and I'm just 7-year-old Cody, and all of a sudden just took me out. And
what was it?
I have no idea.
Oh God!
Dude, you can't live in the past, man. We got to
I gotta break that.
And this is the other reason. I was walking in a city park when I was probably like 13, going to school, and a bird pooped on me on my way to school. Like,
that's good luck.
Birds
you have everywhere
man.
to poop, and you pooped on me.
That's good luck. That's a sign of good luck.
Yeah, not so when you're going to school. Flicking his hair on your hand. That's good luck. Oh, that's why I don't do spiders.
I was literally the butt of everybody's jokes that day. They knew what that white stuff was on my shirt.
So what are your kind of with, and I'm thinking about this because we all have busy lives, and we all are involved in some way, shape, or form in the community also. long term, or even like thinking ahead, with so many different directions that you might feel like you're pulled in, how do you and even not even counting family, but like how do you dial it in? Like, is it like a switch, okay, with this and then a switch with that, and then make sure you're where you need to be present with each organization or whatever? And then do you ever think long term of like, okay, you know, where do I see myself long term in this or in that, and Turtle Room, and obviously the other ones are you live it, so it's a different story. It's not like it's just a career. But I know you guys have probably the biggest aspirations out of anyone, and like how do you dial that in and really not only be realistic, but like, make sure that you're not getting too far ahead of yourself, that you do it like in a very organic, sustainable way.
You know, the Turtle Room is so exciting to be a part of because they set goals and they try to set these, realistic goals, but they hit them every time. We want to do this. Okay, let's get this accomplished. It's a great team of people, amazing people. They work so hard. And I think that helps drive the focus for saying, okay, what does the Turtle Room need? What can we do next? Let's get some ideas going. Really just a great group of people. And I think that's why Chris and I want to be a part of it. If we didn't want to be a part of the Turtle Room, we have enough on our plate,
Yeah.
So I think that's where that comes from. As far as Garden State Tortoise goes, and like our networking with, the state and the zoos, it's just, I don't know how to describe it. Like you said, we just live it. It's
almost like when you see one opportunity for one thing and a need, you kind of venture that, and you're just kind of just literally just let it, happen.
Yeah, Chris and I are on the same page almost all the time with the work part of our lives. I think that, we're both here to balance each other. Like he's got the girls tonight and I'm doing this. And then when he has something going on, we kind of just balance each other out and support each other no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's also, what keeps us going and helps us to kind of dive into everything that we do dive into. It does help that he's an animal person and I'm an animal person.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask this question. Does
Sure.
he still, I don't know if he ever did, but I'm just going to speak like I have to do. Does he still ask for permission to get another turtle?
Listen, I've asked for ghosts and he told me no, but I never tell him he can't get whatever it is that he wants. He's pointing his finger at me right now. No, are you kidding? No, we never say no. We've taken a lot of confiscations and a lot of rescues from like red-eared slider rescues, sulcatas. I mean, anything that anyone can't.
There was a period of time unofficially where I would get a box with a turtle in the mail, and it would magically make its way into an enclosure before my wife got home. So
Guilty.
I was just curious if Chris ever had that stage in your guys' relationship, or was it like, look what I got?
It's look what I got.
Do you guys, when it comes to feed and, and all that kind of stuff, do you pretty much, even with and all the rescues or whatever you bring in, you like sometimes like we have people we've had on, they actually will go to, the markets and, get food, for help and, to supply some of the animals. Or is it just all you guys just sustaining your own? Yeah.
Yeah. There are people who like truly, truly love their animals, but just can't take care of them anymore. So they'll, bring the animals down to us and they'll, here's a 50-pound bag of food or, something like that. But for the most part, we get an order sent to the house every week, and we, do the best. Yeah, we do the best we can. Plus, he He builds the enclosures so that the animals can find their own food naturally. So that's a big help too. But yeah, no, it's all us.
Yeah, definitely.
You have a lot of support to get goats, so I'm gonna share that with you, and hopefully Chris sees this and changes his mind for you.
I hope so. Okay, if we're doing this, I want goats and I want an African zebu, which is it's a mini cow. So
okay, that's
cows are like. You were asking me what my favorite animal to work with at the zoo. It was birds, and then it was the Vietnamese potbelly pigs, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know. Bear cubs, lion cubs, but no, it was the pigs.
Now, do you ever try to find, like, if you get rescues, do you guys really try to find homes like pretty quickly, or do you just let them get acclimated and make sure they're healthy and this and that, and then will you ever try to find like rehomes, or does it depend on the animal and the species also?
Yeah, it depends. Like, we know, like with the red-eared sliders, sometimes we get them in by the hundreds. So with that, we do try to like branch out and see who else could maybe take some, because you guys, I'm sure, know that the red-eared sliders are just everywhere.
Yeah, at this point, they can be found apparently on 6 of the 7 continents. Yeah. What I hear.
So it depends on the species. We always usually try to throw them into quarantine, check them out, make sure they're healthy, not carrying anything. Sometimes you don't know what they were kept with, or what they were fed, and then a lot of the times with the animals that weren't cared for properly, they don't do so well because they're moved. So
yeah, and you said you like to do the more naturalistic aspects, so you don't do a lot of troughs. Or do you have ponds? Like,
we do. We do have a lot of ponds. Everything that can go outside goes outside, even if it's just for a month or two, depending on how tolerant they are of the weather, and the rain and everything. Sometimes we do get a lot of rain here, but yeah, everything we can goes outside and lives as natural as possible, and then they come into the pole barn if they can't hibernate.
I was curious, and this is going to go backwards, but it came to my mind, so I'm going to ask. Have you ever hatched twins from terrapins, obviously?
No. I know, with all the hatchlings we have, no, everybody's been...
All right, piggybacking off that, what has been the most exciting hatching for you? Because I'm going to ask Chris this same question when he's on. Everything you guys have hatched, what has been the most exciting for you?
What they hatched or experience hatching?
Okay, experienced hatching, I would say the first round of Diamondbacks that, for my first year of working, that was pretty rewarding to watch them come out of the egg. So I would definitely say that. But I guess I would have to say when he hatched the Angulata was pretty cool. But a big part of it too is we're seeing everything through a 3-year-old's eyes too. So whenever anything's hatching and she's looking at the eggs, that's probably the best part of the hatching tortoises and turtles for me.
You have a question from the viewers, and I'll post this question. I think we answered it, but I'll allow you to answer it again. Is this your guys' full-time job? Sorry if this was answered before. I'm just tuning in.
Yes. Yep. This is all we do. All day. Every day.
Don't sound too enthused now.
We work a lot.
No, I believe
especially it. Since we work from home. Yeah. There's no clocking in or clocking out. We're always clocked in. So yeah. But it's so exciting, and every single day is so different. And we've grown accustomed to that, drop and go kind of lifestyle, and I wouldn't change it for the world. We have a blast.
Ed, I'm gonna give you one more question. I have one more question. Do you want to go last, or you want to go now?
Oh, I'll go, because it was. I mean, I don't even know why this one came out. It has really nothing to do other than family life. Because I'm thinking, as full time as you guys are, especially at home, you know, when your kids get to that point, it's not because I'm having twins and I'm thinking I'm gonna have my own, you know, full house. But like, do you plan on actually homeschooling, or you know, going school route, or like when they get to that age, as far as, you know, are you gonna try to keep it more home based? You know,
Yeah, we've kind of always, even before we had kids, talked about homeschooling. We've got, you know, more biology in our backyard than they're ever going to learn in a classroom.
yeah,
And again, I'll say it again, with the way the world is these days, I mean, nobody knows if their kids are going back to school half-time, full-time,
yeah.
remote. So, yeah, I think we're gonna try the homeschooling route. I've always been interested in it. I think it's great. I think it's awesome to have kids out of the classroom and into actual, you know, learning.
And you might as well just make another
hands-on.
notch in the belt too.
There you go. Be a teacher now.
The Garden State Tortoise Homeschooling
Yeah.
Center. I called it. Okay, if you guys do it, you know, I won't ask for any credit. This isn't my question, but he would like to know if you need an intern.
Actually, the Turtle Room is working on making that happen. We've talked about getting an internship for this project. So in the future, absolutely. I would love to have a couple of interns.
Cool.
Definitely, but not yet.
So my question is, what would you recommend to people who are watching on ways that they can help your organization or help the fight to save terrapins? You know, I'll give a quick example. When we talked to Jordan, we found out that there's not a lot of organizations doing what you guys are doing in New Jersey, in Florida. It seems in Florida, it's more so of tagging instead of necessarily, you know, getting eggs and, you know, head starting them and releasing them. So in that regard, what would you recommend to people that want to get involved or want to help your organization who might not be in New Jersey?
Obviously, donations go a long way. You know, before this year, Chris and I were laying out everything for the project, and microchips are costly, especially now that we are going to try to build our own nesting habitat. You know, we have some expenses ahead of us that we can hopefully take care of so that we can do what we need to do in the locations. But I would say personally, you know, keep your eyes open, know what you're looking at. If you see a turtle in the road, don't just assume it's this or that. Google it. Everybody's got a smartphone. Look it up, see what kind of animal it is before you think it needs to go back into a lake.
Yeah.
Or a gopher tortoise in a lake.
Yeah, there you go. You know, just educate yourself is the most important thing. You know, if you're going to visit the coast in June, you're going to see a terrapin. You're going to see wildlife. You know, get to know your wildlife and respect it. One of the biggest issues that I run into, besides road mortality and crows, is people interacting with the animals when they really don't need to be. I can't tell you how many calls I get. Oh, hey, I found this turtle. Now I have it in, you know, a bucket in my backyard. Well, is it injured? No. Well, why did you pick it up? So I think educating yourself is one of the most important things. And keeping your eyes peeled for wildlife, you know, respect it and be aware.
Ultimately, you know, let nature do its course, but you know, just whenever you can intervene in any sort of way and help pivot that moment back to them.
Yeah.
Best thing you can do, right? I mean, if you can head start, or not even head start, just hatch and let a bunch of hatchlings go. I mean, I'm pretty sure adults and other animals can figure it out also.
Definitely.
That's good.
We are approaching the end of our podcast, Casey, and this is the time where you can tell the viewers how they can follow and support your different causes. So this is your platform. Share it.
All of them.
Yeah.
You can share all of them. I promise we won't get mad.
I already did. on Instagram and everything else. So
Yeah, we've got we've got our Instagram account that I run. Chris runs our Facebook. Everything is under Terrapin Conservation Initiative, or you could visit theTurtleRoom.org. We have our own page on there as well, where you can also make donations, and we also have a merch shop. And it's a great website just to find out a little more about what the Turtle Room is doing and other aspects of conservation and education. And Garden State Tortoise does a lot of posts too. He actually has his YouTube channel going. So he just did a Terrapin release video this morning, actually. So you can check that out too.
Sweet.
I will be watching right after this.
Following up from Greg, with his YouTube, that's, you talk about it, and that's what I was telling Cody. I was like, you guys utilize your resources like to the utmost, and that's what a lot of people. That's what can make the difference.
Yeah.
When people see you're actually in the field doing stuff, and it's like people feel like they're actually involved and get that kind of sentimental connection to where you see a commercial with a puppy rather than a turtle, but you see a turtle that you guys are interacting with. It's like you want that connection, not to make people like help you, but it's just awareness, and you guys definitely do that to the utmost. And I mean, you keep doing that. I mean, you separate yourself. I mean, when you can type in Terrapin on Instagram or something like that, and you guys are almost you're the first thing that pop up. You're doing something right. So
hey, we were trying. Thank you. Yeah, we try really hard. Yeah, Chris is the mastermind behind all of the social media sharing and being so open about everything. He's really great about it.
So we're gonna have a good one with him.
Yeah. That's September 8th.
Okay.
You're gonna be on mom duty. All right.
I'm always on mom duty. Come on. I'm doing it right now.
I think this is the perfect comment to end on, and so I'm going to go ahead and share it. Thank you so much for everything you do and sharing it with us. I'm going to piggyback off of that and say that the most important thing you can do to people that aren't in New Jersey, share what you're doing, because I mean, of course, I could look at your pictures and I get an idea of what you're doing, but we don't necessarily know to what extent, the ins and out, the expenses. And I can only speak for myself and probably Ed. But for somebody who, absolutely loves the terrapin species, us donating some money to help you, preserve that population, that's a no-brainer for me. Like $200, I was probably going to spend $200 on a new turtle when I could be helping you save, how many ever. And so I'm thanking you for coming on and definitely sharing this for us, because it's definitely been, important. It's going to go into memory books for me.
Well, I really appreciate you guys having me on. Again, like you said, this is another platform to make people aware of what's out there and what's going on. So thank you guys for having me on. This is great.
No. We'll have to have you on another time when we can get some more data or something. I'm curious about.
Or we can just collab. You have to find someone on duty, but
yeah, maybe I could get Chris on here too. The two of us can do it.
There we go.
Together.
The Leone duo.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Well, guys, we appreciate you guys for watching another show. We appreciate you guys for tuning in to another Tuesday. We will see you next week. Just a little heads up, it will be a pre-recorded episode because my man Ed has an exciting announcement. Do you want to share now or next episode?
Oh, with twins?
Yeah, why we can't go live next Tuesday.
That depends on, if they want to come early, but Tuesday is the inducement date. So, that was the first thing I told Cody. I was like, yo, dude, I know we just switched to Tuesdays, but guess what? Tuesday might be the wrong Tuesday. So I was like, but the commitment thing, I said, look, why not use our resources when we do the pre-recording? Just don't let that hinder you. Not to say I'm not, it's a big
Hey, bro,
deal.
I'm going to let you know, if the babies came on Friday, you're still not doing a live Tuesday. Like, you're going to be in dad mode, man. Okay.
I know.
So
it's probably just going to get a better head start, but it'll be good, man. But it's going to be exciting, and another adapt, and we all go through seasons, and it's only propelled me to go forward, with everything I do with my books, and doing stuff like that, so. Oh, thanks, man. Come on, I'm getting some love here. That's a first. I'll take that.
You know
man.
what you're having? You're having a boy and a girl, 2
Boy
girls.
and a girl.
Oh,
So we already
wow.
have a girl, 16, 17-month-old. So now I get my baby boy and I get another little girl to love on. So
Oh,
they
how
love on me.
fun
So
is that?
it's gonna be great.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time, and and God's been good through it all, man. Because we have been having some complications, but literally to this point now, they are ready, head down at 6 pounds, something like that each.
Oh,
And
wow.
they are healthy, and the doctors are like, this couldn't have been a perfect scenario. So we're really blessed and thankful.
Mom's feeling good, or is mom feeling
she's still
like?
working out here and there a couple of times a week.
Good for her.
Yeah, like most people, like all my buddies are like, I can't do the stuff she does, and she's doing it, and she's almost 9 months pregnant. I'm like, look, I couldn't do it. I mean, I'm pretty solid and a rock star myself, but I don't seeing what she does. I'm like, I ain't got nothing on that. So, hats off to you mothers and doing what you do, and mamas, and especially with the animals. It's like you just gotta love what you do, and when you have to put your head down and barrel through.
Did you freeze, or did I freeze?
He froze.
Yeah, you froze, bro. We didn't catch the last 30 seconds of what you said.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man.
Well, it's all good.
It's your wife. She's secretly sitting next to the Wi-Fi box, unplugging it to let you know. There you go. But no, Ed, we're excited, man. Next week, even though it's pre-recorded, it's gonna go on live just like this. It won't technically be live, but it's gonna say live. And we have Dan the Guppy Man, full episode for Dan. So I'm sure that'll be exciting.
Oh, man.
That's the guy that wants to be your intern.
Okay.
So tune in. Maybe he can shoot his shot, and maybe his resume will move up to the top. But nonetheless, we're excited. We're going to keep going. And more than anything, I look forward to this hatchling video that you just told me about. That's going to be my night. So thank you again, Casey. We appreciate
you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
This has been What the Shell podcast.
What the
Shell? We haven't mastered that, but it's okay. You guys have a good night, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Peace.
Peace, guys.